The afternoon sun cast golden shadows across our backyard as smoke rose lazily from the grill. I flipped burgers while Sarah chatted with the neighbors, her laughter floating across the patio like wind chimes. 15 years of marriage, and that sound still made me smile, usually. "Tom, you're burning them," she called out, and I quickly adjusted the heat. Our new neighbor, Jake, leaned against the fence with that easy confidence only 28-year-olds seem to possess. He'd moved in 3 months ago, always friendly, always ready with a wave and that movie star smile. At 43, I'd started to feel the years creeping in, the gray at my temples, the slight paunch no amount of gym time seemed to eliminate. "Smells great, Tom." Jake raised his beer in salute. "You guys throw the best gatherings." Sarah walked over, her sundress swaying. "Oh, that's all Tom. He's the perfect husband, does everything around here. Sometimes I joke that I should just trade him in for a newer model." The words hung in the air like smoke. Jake's eyes sparkled. "Well, if you're giving him away, I'll take him off your hands," everyone laughed. Sarah's friend Michelle nearly choked on her wine. "Jake, that's terrible." "I meant Sarah, obviously," Jake corrected, his gaze lingering on my wife just a beat too long. "A woman who knows she's got a good thing. That's rare." Sarah's cheeks flushed pink. "Well, he's been pretty well trained after 15 years. More laughter. I forced a smile, focusing on the burgers. It was just banter. Harmless. The kind of thing people say at backyard parties when the beer is cold and the weather is perfect. "Tom doesn't mind, do you, honey?" Sarah glanced at me, already smiling at her own joke. "He knows I'm kidding." "Course not," I managed. All in good fun. But Jake didn't look away from Sarah. "So if you were serious, hypothetically, what would it take? A trade? Alone?" The group erupted in scandalized laughter, but I caught the shift in Jake's posture, the way he'd moved slightly closer to my wife. Sarah waved her hand dismissively, but she was still smiling, still holding his gaze. "Jake, you're terrible," she said. But there was something in her voice, a lightness, a flirtation that made my chest tighten. "I'm just saying," Jake continued. "Some guys don't appreciate what they have. Tom's clearly busy with the grill, the yard work, everything. Maybe you need someone who has more time for you." The implications settled over the gathering like a change in weather. Sarah's smile faltered for just a moment, and I saw something flicker in her eyes. Consideration? "Curiosity?" "Jake, another beer?" I called out, desperate to change the subject. "Sure thing. Tom, you're a good man." Jake finally broke eye contact with Sarah. "Taking care of everyone like this." As I retrieved beers from the cooler, I heard Sarah say something I couldn't quite catch, followed by Jake's low rumble of laughter. When I returned, they were standing closer together, Sarah's hand resting on the fence near his, almost touching. The rest of the party blurred. I played the dutiful host, refilling drinks, clearing plates, keeping the conversation flowing. But I couldn't stop watching them. The way Sarah's body angled toward Jake when he spoke, how her laugh seemed brighter in his presence, the way she touched her hair whenever he complimented her. That night, as we cleaned up in the kitchen, Sarah hummed happily. "That was fun." "Jake's really nice, isn't he?" "Yeah," I said, loading the dishwasher. "Real charming." "Don't be like that." "It was just jokes, Tom." "God, you're so sensitive sometimes." I didn't respond. What could I say? That my gut churned with an anxiety I couldn't name? That the joke didn't feel funny? That I'd seen the way she looked at him? "Tom?" Sarah's voice softened. "You know I love you, right?" "It was just party talk." "I know," I lied, kissing her forehead. "I know." But as I lay awake that night, Sarah sleeping peacefully beside me, I couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted. A door had opened, just a crack, and I didn't know if I could close it. The worst part? I'd smiled through it all. The perfect husband. The good sport. The man who understood it was all just a joke. Except it didn't feel like a joke anymore. It started small. Sarah asking if I'd seen Jake while taking out the trash. Her mentioning things Jake had said. Things Jake had done, things Jake thought about politics, movies, life. Jake became a frequent character in our conversations, a third presence in our marriage. Jake fixed his deck by himself this weekend. Can you believe it? Took him one day. I'd been meaning to fix our deck for 3 months. Jake's taking a trip to Costa Rica. Doesn't that sound amazing? We should travel more. We'd planned to travel. Before Sarah's promotion meant longer hours. Before my consulting business took off. Before life got in the way. Then came the texts. I noticed one evening when her phone lit up on the kitchen counter. Jake's name, a laughing emoji. Sarah snatched it up quickly, smiling at the screen in a way that felt like a small betrayal. "What's funny?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light. "Oh, Jake sent a meme about our neighborhood. It's silly." She didn't show me. The next week I came home early from a client meeting. Sarah was in the front yard, supposedly weeding the garden, but Jake was there too, crouched beside her, their heads close together. They were laughing about something, and when I pulled into the driveway, Sarah looked up with an expression I couldn't quite read. Guilt? Annoyance at the interruption? "Hey, honey." Her voice was too bright. "Jake was just helping me identify these weeds." "Weeds," I repeated. Jake stood, brushing dirt from his jeans. "Yeah, man. I've got some expertise from landscaping in college." Sarah mentioned she was struggling, so I thought I'd offer some tips. "That's helpful of you." "Tom, don't be rude," Sarah said, standing. Jake was being nice. After Jake left, Sarah rounded on me. "What was that?" "You were practically hostile." "Was I? I thought I was being perfectly friendly." "You know what I mean? That tone. Like he's doing something wrong by helping me." "Is he? Just helping with weeds?" Sarah's eyes flashed. "What are you implying?" "Nothing. Nothing at all." I walked past her into the house, feeling her anger like heat on my back, but I wasn't imagining things. Over the following weeks, the signs multiplied. Sarah started wearing makeup for quick trips to the grocery store. She joined Jake's morning running group, something she'd never been interested in before. Her phone became a permanent extension of her hand, constantly buzzing with notifications she'd check with a secret smile. I tried talking to her. One night over dinner, I said carefully, "Sarah, I feel like we're drifting. Like you're somewhere else." She looked up from her phone. "What, Tom, don't be dramatic. I'm right here." "Are you? Because it seems like Jake—" "Oh my God." She set down her fork with a clatter. "I can't have a friend? Is that what this is about? You're jealous of Jake?" "It's not about jealousy. It's about respect. The way you two— the way we what? Talk, laugh? Should I just be miserable and boring like you want?" The word struck like a slap. "Is that what you think? That I'm boring?" Sarah's expression softened slightly, but not enough. "Tom, you're being paranoid. Jake is nice and yes, he's fun, but nothing is happening. You're inventing problems that don't exist." I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her. But the evidence kept mounting. I'd see them outside, talking by the mailboxes. She'd mentioned running into him at the coffee shop again. She started staying up late after I went to bed. Her phone lighting up the living room. My friend Marcus noticed. "Dude, you okay? You seem stressed." We were grabbing beers after work, and I must have looked as terrible as I felt. I told him everything. The barbecue, the texts, the constant presence of Jake in our lives. Marcus grimaced. "Have you considered she might be—" Don't say it. Tom, I'm sorry, but from the outside, this doesn't look good." She says nothing's happening, and you believe her. Did I? I'd always trusted Sarah completely. 15 years of marriage built on trust, partnership, love. But trust is a fragile thing, and every secret smile at her phone chipped away at it. That Saturday, Sarah announced she was going to a neighborhood barbecue at Jake's place. "You're welcome to come, but I know you said you had work to catch up on." I'd mentioned work 3 days ago. She'd clearly been planning this, had cleared the path for going alone. "Maybe I'll come," I said. Her face fell. "Oh, I mean, great." "That's great. I just thought, you've been so busy. I'll make time." But that afternoon, an emergency call from my biggest client demanded my attention. A system crash, servers down, thousands of dollars per hour in losses. I had to handle it. Sarah left for Jake's barbecue wearing a new dress I'd never seen. "I'll be back by 9, she promised, kissing my cheek. Her perfume was different too, something expensive and unfamiliar. I worked until 8, then couldn't focus anymore. I walked to Jake's house just 2 blocks away, telling myself I'd join the party. But when I got there, I saw them through the sliding glass door. The party was over. It was just Sarah and Jake sitting close on his couch, wine glasses on the table. She was laughing, touching his arm, her body language open and inviting in a way I hadn't seen directed at me in months. I stood in the darkness, watching my wife fall for another man. I didn't confront her that night. I walked home in the dark, each step heavy with the weight of what I'd seen. When Sarah came home at 11, 2 hours later than promised, she was flushed and happy. "Sorry, we got talking and lost track of time. You know how it is." I didn't know. Not anymore. I didn't know who this woman was, the one who could lie so easily to my face. "Did you have fun?" I asked. "It was nice, low-key, just a few neighbors." The lies came smoothly now, practiced. There'd been no neighbors by the time I'd arrived. Over the next month, I became someone I hated. Suspicious, watchful, constantly checking for signs. I'd see texts appear on her phone when she was in the shower. I'd notice new lingerie in her drawer, pieces she never wore for me. She started going to the gym more, styling her hair differently, laughing at inside jokes I wasn't part of. Marcus kept asking if I was okay. I kept lying that I was fine. My sister Jennifer noticed during a family dinner. "Tom, you look exhausted. Is everything all right with you and Sarah?" Sarah answered before I could. "He's just stressed with work. You know, Tom, always taking on too much." But Jennifer pulled me aside while Sarah was in the bathroom. "Whatever's happening, don't ignore it. I can see it eating you alive. It's nothing I can't handle. That's what worries me." The breaking point came on our 15th anniversary. I'd made reservations at the restaurant where I'd proposed, planned a whole evening. But when I came home early to surprise Sarah, I found a note on the counter. "Tom, I'm so sorry. Jake had an emergency with his plumbing, and I promised I'd help him deal with the landlord. I'll be back soon. Rain check on dinner? Our anniversary." And she was with him. I called the restaurant and canceled. Then I sat in the dark living room and finally let myself feel the full weight of it. The betrayal, the humiliation, the grief of watching my marriage crumble while pretending everything was fine. Sarah came home at 10. "Oh, Tom, you're still up. Did the plumber get everything sorted?" She stopped when she saw my face. "What's wrong?" "Our anniversary. Today is our 15th anniversary." Her hand flew to her mouth. "Oh my God. Tom, I completely forgot. I'm so sorry. You forgot our anniversary to help Jake with his plumbing. It wasn't like that. He was really panicked and—" "Stop." My voice was quiet but firm. "Please, just stop lying to me." "I'm not lying. Why are you being like this?" "Sarah, I know. I've known for weeks. I see the way you look at him, the way you talk about him, the way you've checked out of this marriage." She stood frozen, caught. For a moment, I thought she might deny it, might try to salvage something. Instead, she sank onto the couch, her face in her hands. "I don't know what's happening to me," she whispered. "Jake makes me feel young, exciting, like I'm not just Tom's wife or the boring woman who works too much." "So you've been having an affair?" "No, nothing physical has happened. We just talk and laugh and you forgot our anniversary to be with him." "Sarah, that's worse. You're not just attracted to him, you've fallen for him." She looked up at me with tears in her eyes. I don't know what to do. I'd imagined this conversation 100 times, always picturing myself angry, demanding she choose, threatening to leave. But now that the moment was here, I just felt tired, defeated. "What do you want to do?" I asked. "I don't know." We sat in silence. The clock ticked. Outside, a car passed. Our life together was ending, and it sounded like nothing at all. Finally, Sarah spoke. "Maybe we need some space to figure things out." "Space. I'll stay at my sister's for a while, just to clear my head." She left the next morning with 2 suitcases. I watched her car pull away and wondered if she was going to her sister's at all or straight to Jake's house. The answer came 2 days later when I saw them together in his front yard, Sarah watering his plants while Jake grilled. They looked like a couple, like she'd simply moved from one house to another, one husband to the next, as easy as changing channels. Marcus found me on my deck that evening, staring at nothing. He'd let himself in through the side gate carrying 2 six-packs. Jennifer called me, said you might need a friend. We drank in silence for a while before he asked, "Has she asked for a divorce?" "Not yet. She's taking space." "Tom, you know where she is, right? What this is?" "Yeah, I know. And you're just accepting it?" Was I? For 15 years, I'd bent myself into whatever shape Sarah needed. The understanding husband, the patient partner, the one who didn't make waves. I'd smiled through her jokes about trading me in. I'd pretended not to notice when flirtation became something more. I'd swallowed my hurt to keep the peace. But what had it gotten me? An empty house and a wife who'd left me for a man who'd never promised her anything but a good time. I don't know what else to do, I admitted. If I fight for her, I'm the controlling husband. If I let her go, I'm the pushover who didn't care enough. Or, Marcus said carefully, you could be the man who respects himself enough not to wait around while she decides if her affair is worth more than her marriage. The word affair hung between us. That's what this was, even if they hadn't slept together. Emotional infidelity, they called it, sometimes worse than the physical kind. 3 weeks passed. Sarah texted occasionally, nothing deep, just logistics about bills and mail. Never an apology. Never "I miss you." Just silence where our marriage used to be. Then one night, she called. "Tom, can we talk?" My heart jumped traitorously. "Sure. I need to be honest with you. Jake and we're seeing each other, officially." I wanted you to hear it from me. There it was, the final nail. "So you want a divorce?" "I think it's best. We've grown apart, Tom. You have to feel it too." Did I? Or had she just pushed us apart until the gap became too wide to cross? "I'll have my lawyer draw up papers," I said, my voice hollow. "Tom, I hope we can be civil about this. We had good years." I hung up. I couldn't listen to her rewrite history to pretend our marriage had died naturally rather than being murdered by her choices. That night, I finally let myself grieve. Summer turned to fall. Divorce papers were signed. Sarah moved in with Jake officially, and I sold our house. Couldn't bear to stay in a place haunted by the ghost of my marriage. I bought a small condo across town, started therapy, tried to rebuild something resembling a life. Jennifer checked in weekly. "You eating? Sleeping?" "Some. Enough." Marcus dragged me to the gym, to bars, to anywhere that wasn't my empty apartment. "You're going to get through this. I promise you're going to get through this." I doubted it, but I went through the motions. Gradually, imperceptibly, the sharp edges of pain dulled to a constant ache. I could go hours without thinking about Sarah, then a day, then several. I threw myself into work, took on bigger projects, traveled for clients. My business grew. I lost the weight I'd been carrying, not through effort, but through simply forgetting to eat half the time. The gray in my hair made me look distinguished instead of old, or so Jennifer insisted. "You look good, Tom. Really. Like you've found yourself again." Had I? I wasn't sure what myself meant anymore. For 15 years, I'd been half of Tom and Sarah. Now I was just Tom. Learning who that was felt like starting over at 43. 6 months after the divorce, I ran into Michelle, Sarah's friend from the barbecue, at a coffee shop. She looked uncomfortable when she saw me. "Tom, hi. How are you?" "I'm okay. You?" "Good, good." She hesitated. "Listen, I don't know if you've heard, but Sarah and Jake, I'd rather not know." "No, you should know this." Michelle sat down across from me. They broke up. It was messy. Despite myself, I felt a jolt of something. Vindication? Schadenfreude? When? 2 weeks ago. Jake dumped her. Turns out he'd been seeing someone else, a girl from his office, 24 years old. He'd been juggling both of them for months. The irony was so sharp it almost made me laugh. Sarah had left a faithful husband for a man who'd cheated on her. "How is she?" Michelle grimaced. "Devastated. She's been calling everyone, crying, saying she made a terrible mistake. She's asked about you. What about me? How you're doing. If you're seeing anyone. If you ever mention her." Michelle leaned forward. "Tom, I think she wants you back." The words hit me like cold water. A year ago, I would have rejoiced, would have taken her back immediately, grateful for a second chance. But now, that's not my problem anymore, I said quietly. "I know. I just thought you should be prepared. Sarah's not taking this well, and when she's desperate, Michelle trailed off. Just be careful, okay? She was my friend. But what she did to you was wrong. I see that now. Sarah texted me that evening. Tom, can we meet? I need to talk to you, please. I stared at the message for a long time before responding. I don't think that's a good idea. Please. I know I hurt you. I just need to explain. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet at a neutral location, a park bench near the river where we used to walk. She looked different. Older somehow, though it had only been 6 months. Her face was drawn, her eyes red-rimmed. The confidence that had radiated from her at that barbecue was gone, replaced by something fragile. Tom, thank you for meeting me. What do you want, Sarah? I made a mistake, the biggest mistake of my life. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Jake wasn't who I thought he was. He was just a fantasy. And I destroyed everything real for a fantasy. Okay, is that all you have to say? Okay. What do you want me to say, that I forgive you, that we can start over? Maybe, I don't know. I just know that losing Jake made me realize what I lost with you. You were good to me, Tom. You were kind and patient and loving, and I threw it away for someone who never cared about me at all. I watched a jogger pass by, a woman with a golden retriever. Simple, uncomplicated. You didn't lose Jake. Sarah, he dumped you for someone younger. If he hadn't, would you be here right now? She opened her mouth, then closed it. That's what I thought. I stood. I'm sorry Jake hurt you. I really am. But you don't get to come back to me just because your affair didn't work out the way you hoped. It wasn't an affair. What would you call it? You emotionally left our marriage months before you physically did. You chose him over me every single day. And now that he's chosen someone else over you, you want me to be your safety net. That's not fair. Fair? I felt anger rising hot and clean. You forgot our 15th anniversary to help him with his plumbing. You moved in with him a week after leaving me. You filed for divorce so you could be with him. And now I'm being unfair? Sarah sobbed openly now. I know I was terrible. But people make mistakes, Tom. Can't you forgive me? I can forgive you. I'm working on it. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It doesn't mean going back to being someone you can take for granted while you chase the next exciting thing. It wouldn't be like that. How do I know? How could I ever trust you again? The question hung between us. Every time you were late, every time you texted someone, every time you smiled at your phone, I'd wonder. I'd be right back to where I was, watching you fall for someone else while I pretended everything was fine. I would never do that again. I've learned my lesson. Your lesson? Sarah, you didn't learn anything. You're here because Jake left you, not because you realized you loved me. There's a difference. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. Tom, please. I do love you. I always did. I just got confused and stupid, and now you're alone and scared and looking for someone to fix it for you. That was my role, wasn't it? Tom the fixer. Tom the reliable. Tom the boring but steady husband who'd always be there because he didn't have other options. That's not true, isn't it? Tell me honestly. If Jake called right now and said he made a mistake, that he wants you back, would you stay here with me? Her silence was answer enough. I walked away from Sarah that day at the park, and something shifted inside me. For the first time in a year, I felt lighter, free. The closure I'd been desperately seeking had come, not through her apology or explanation, but through my own refusal to accept less than I deserved. Sarah kept trying. Texts, calls, emails. She showed up at my office once, causing a scene that embarrassed us both. Each time I held firm. We're done, Sarah. Please respect that. Marcus clapped me on the back one evening over beers. Proud of you, man. I know that wasn't easy. It was easier than I thought it would be. Once I stopped seeing her through the lens of 15 years together and started seeing her clearly. Who she is now. What she's capable of. The choice was obvious. You seem better, healthier. I am. I'm actually happy for the first time in years. Not happy about the divorce, but happy with myself. Does that make sense? It did. I'd spent so long making myself smaller, quieter, easier to deal with, that I'd forgotten who I was underneath all that accommodation. Therapy helped me see it. The pattern of self-sacrifice that had made me the perfect target for someone like Sarah, and later Jake. Jennifer visited my new place and smiled at the changes. Tom, this is really nice. It feels like you. The condo was modern, minimalist, nothing like the cluttered traditional home Sarah had insisted on. My guitar hung on the wall, an instrument I'd stopped playing years ago because Sarah found it annoying. My bookshelves were organized exactly how I liked them. Small things, but they represented something larger, reclaiming my own space, my own preferences, my own life. I'm even dating, I admitted. Tom, that's wonderful. Who is she? Her name's Rachel. She's a landscape architect. We met at a coffee shop, the most cliché thing ever. She was sketching, I asked what she was drawing, and we talked for 3 hours. And? How is it? Different. Good different. She's direct, honest, says what she means. After walking on eggshells for so long, it's refreshing. Rachel was 40, divorced with 2 teenage kids, and had none of Sarah's games. When I told her about my marriage, she'd listened carefully, then said, "That must have been incredibly painful. But I'm glad you know your worth now." I only date men who respect themselves. It's the only way they can respect me. She was right. The version of myself that had tolerated Sarah's behavior couldn't have maintained a healthy relationship with anyone. I'd needed to rebuild my sense of self-worth first. A year after that park bench conversation, I heard through mutual friends that Sarah had moved to another city. Fresh start, Michelle told me. She's in therapy working on herself. She asked me to tell you she's sorry. Really sorry, and she hopes you're happy. I am happy, I told Michelle. Tell her I hope she finds what she's looking for. I meant it. The anger had faded, leaving behind something closer to pity. Sarah had traded a real partnership for a fantasy, and the fantasy had taught her a harsh lesson. Maybe she'd learn from it. Maybe she wouldn't. Either way, it wasn't my problem anymore. Rachel met me that evening at my place carrying takeout and a smile. How was your day? Good, better than good. I kissed her hello, marveling at how simple this was. No hidden meanings, no walking on eggshells. Just honest affection between 2 people who chose each other clearly and deliberately. Over dinner, she asked, "Did you ever think you'd be here? Happy again after everything?" No, I admitted. For a long time, I thought Sarah was my only chance at love. That if our marriage failed, I'd failed. That I was too old, too boring, I don't know. Too me to start over. And now? Now I realized she was right about one thing. We had grown apart. But it wasn't mutual drift. She checked out and blamed me for not being exciting enough to keep her attention. She wanted me to compete with a fantasy, and I could never have won that competition. Rachel squeezed my hand. Her loss was everyone else's gain. I'm certainly not complaining. You know what the funny thing is? Jake did me a favor. If Sarah had stayed, we'd have limped along for years, both miserable, both pretending. The affair, her leaving, it forced me to confront everything I'd been avoiding. About our marriage, about myself, about what I actually want from life. And what do you want? This, exactly this. Someone who chooses me every day, not because I'm convenient or safe, but because they actually want to be with me. Someone who sees me clearly and still sticks around. Well, Rachel smiled. You're stuck with me then, because I see you very clearly, Tom, and I'm not going anywhere. We spent the evening talking, laughing, planning a weekend trip. Simple things. Real things. No drama, no games, no wondering where I stood or if I was enough. Later, as Rachel slept beside me, I thought about that barbecue 2 years ago. If I could go back and tell that version of myself what was coming, the pain, the betrayal, the lonely nights, would I change anything? Maybe I'd speak up sooner. Maybe I'd have more self-respect than to smile through being disrespected. But the journey that followed, as agonizing as it was, had led me here, to this peace, to this genuine happiness, to myself. Sarah had joked about giving me away, and in a sense she had. She'd given away a faithful husband, a committed partner, a man who would have spent his life making her happy, and Jake had taken the deal only to discard her when someone shinier came along. The cosmic joke was that they'd both lost. Jake had lost whatever scraps of integrity he'd pretended to have. Sarah had lost a marriage, a home, and her self-respect. And in losing me, they'd both learned a lesson they'd probably spend years processing. But I'd gained something invaluable. Myself. My dignity, my future, and eventually someone who actually deserved me. The pain had been worth it. As I drifted off to sleep, I thought about the man I'd been at that barbecue, desperate to please, terrified of conflict, willing to diminish himself to keep the peace. That man was gone. In his place was someone stronger, wiser, more whole. Someone who knew that love shouldn't require you to betray yourself. Someone who understood that respect is not negotiable. Someone who finally knew his worth, and if I ever saw Sarah again, I'd want to tell her something. Thank you. Thank you for leaving. Thank you for choosing someone else. Thank you for breaking my heart so thoroughly that I had no choice but to put it back together stronger than before. But I probably wouldn't say any of that, because the greatest gift I'd given myself was indifference. Sarah was a chapter in my life, not the whole story. And the story that followed, the one I was writing now with Rachel, was so much better than the ending I'd once feared. The joke wasn't funny when Sarah made it. But life had delivered the punchline anyway, and it turned out the cosmic humor was aimed at her all along. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well. I was living very well indeed.